and I'm really pumped to share with you a really cool compact fixed blade that we're going to take a look at today. This is the Tops Knives in collaboration with Almar Mini SERE knife. This knife is taken from the Mini SERE design that Almar makes, and Tops has designed it with US materials here in the US. So that's what we're looking at today. Very similar to what you would get from the standard Almar Mini. And just really looking forward to showing you what this really lightweight, compact utility combat knife has to offer you. So let's go ahead, see what this thing can do, and if this is something you might want to EDC or that you may want to throw on an LBE system and carry, while you're running and gunning.
All right, we're hitting the business end here on the blade. Totally digging that. Love the blade profile, just the overall design. That's why I picked this guy up and I was interested in it. Now, they call this a stone wash. It definitely looks more like an acid wash, which is really cool, and I really dig that a lot. Really nice design there. We have a flat or saber grind that goes 2/3 of the way up the blade, and then you hit that flat portion right there with then about a 2-inch swedge on top. You can get these with sharpened swedges as well, depending on where you look. We'll have links in the description below throughout the video, so you can go over to websites and discover that for yourself if you need that. Definitely just know your local knife laws and life laws, so that you know whether or not that's considered a deadly weapon or not. Some places consider that a dagger, and then you're starting to go into some dangerous territory there. But you can get this sharpened or non. This is the non-sharpened version, still giving you super good strength straight through to the tip. Really like that. You're going to get great penetration, great stabbing capability, and you're still getting pretty good belly. This is still definitely more of like a combat utility knife than, say, like a bushcraft or outdoor knife. That's not what this is originally designed for. It's tactical utility. It's what the purpose of this knife is for, and it does give you good belly, but still giving you great, piercing capability there, which is awesome. One other thing that I just really like about the design is that they decided to go with a stock that is 0.14, so just a hair over 1/8 of an inch thick, but it's not getting into like 5/32 or 3/16, which for a knife of this size would just be overkill in my opinion. It's going to lessen the edge geometry and it would give it strength, but it would basically become like a sharpened pry bar and not like an actual good knife that's good at slicing and stabbing and cutting through material or whatever you may be up against. And so I think that's a great balance of usability and strength at that 0.14 on that full tang construction. The steel is 154 cm, Rockwell hardened 59 to 60 on the design and on the blade. Love 154 cm. It's a good steel, particularly for these compact fixed blades. I like stainless steels over high carbons in my opinion, because these are usually up against your body. You may be in more wet environments, just less maintenance. The 154 cm is less maintenance. It's basically comparable to the VG10 of its original design, that Tops has worked with Almar and made that design. The VG10 and this 154 cm are going to be very similar in performance, edge retention capability, that type of thing. And the relief edge is really nicely done, making this a great just utility knife. I mean, it's a great slicer for its design. You're able to go through all of the stuff you would find, cordage, rubber, plastics, different things like that, and it can still do some wood processing. It's not the best, out there, but that's not what its original, intent is. It's supposed to be able to do some wood processing. You could absolutely do some notches or some feather stick making with it, but the design would lend itself to be more of that utility self-defense role. I wouldn't be out there for days on end trying to do triggers and traps and notches with this type of tool. There are just other ones out there that would be better designed for that, both from Tops and other companies out there, but this can absolutely do some of those things that you would need in an emergency, life and death situation. I can absolutely do that type of task. So just really impressed with the blade profile, the steel that they decided to go with, the thickness, and the overall design of the business end of this knife. All right, so the handle is really sleek and slim, but gives you some good grip to get your real estate on. So what we're looking at is nice machine micarta with those tube holders on there pinned in, which is really nice. Now that is something you'll need to consider compared to like other knives. You could take the handle scales off if you're worried about cleaning them. If you're in a lot of moist environments, the steel 154 will definitely fight against rust, so you won't have to maintain it as much as like high carbon, but that's just something you need to consider. We got nice little red liners in there. The cutouts or the tubes definitely help with weight. This thing comes in at 4.6 ounces. A lot of my pocket knives come in at that weight or even more. So that's awesome for this nice fixed blade here, what we're looking at and what we're getting for this design, which is really sweet. So overall length is 4.75 inches, which is pretty standard for this size of knife. And then the thinness is really what you're gonna notice, and that's gonna come in at 0.46. So under half an inch thick, which means that this is very concealable, very compact, very lightweight. So if those are the things that you're looking for in your fixed blades, you're gonna be really happy with that. I wear large size gloves, and you can see there, I got plenty of real estate off the back with that little lanyard hole. I did have to gut my 550 paracord. That is something I would have liked, to just a little bit more generous lanyard hole right there, but they do offer that. You could, I guess, run it through here if you wanted to, this back one. Got this little hook right there, just kind of keep it all, you know, locked into place, but you can see how big that handle is if I back up all the way on it. So plenty of real estate, good cut in on top and bottom, so you're really locked in for stabbing or harder utility tasks. You go in a reverse grip, rest your thumb right there. I mean, you're like perfectly cut in and ergonomically designed right there for stabbing and that type of thing. You got good jimping right here, just a few notches, and then some right there, which is where I would rest my finger if I'm doing harder tasks, if I was making feather sticks, as you see in this video, different things like that. And what I like is that I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Tops is squaring off their jimping, giving a little bit more distance than they used to, which is good, because really sharp jimping is painful and I don't like that. This is a little bit better. It's not ideal. I prefer pretty shallow, mild jimping, but it's better than some of Tops's other jimping that I've seen in the past, like on their Baja and stuff, that was just very, very sharp to your bare hands. Now, a lot of people, when they're using this knife, are going to be using it with gloves on, tactical gloves and that type of thing, so the traction helps with that, but that is something I just wanted to point out to you. And so that thinness is a great trade-off, you know, compared to ergonomics. I would say the ergonomics are good on this, you know, particularly again for what this is designed for. But if you were going to be sitting there like for hours and hours making little triggers and traps and feather sticks and that type of thing, just because of how thin it is, think of like a lot of your pocket knives. It's great for, you know, 10, 15 minutes, but it's not going to be great if you're going to be trying to do these little tiny fine, you know, controlled cuts for a couple hours. It's just not the ideal design for that. You're going to want something a lot more rounded, a lot more thicker, just to fill out your hand more. So things just to consider, but for the idea and the design of that tactical utility blade, it's perfect and slimmed down compared to a lot of other knives out there on the market, which means it's going to be way more concealable and way less on your either person and on your body or on like your LBE system. All right, we're going to hit a lot in this shot here. Got some competitive options, as well as we're going to look at the sheath and talk price points. So the sheath is that Kydex. Really happy to see that Tops is starting to do that. Good, you know, 360 belt clip. Snaps in really easy. Good pull out, and then the knife is good to go. You don't have to do any kind of walk up, so it's ready for use right away. That's an important thing when you're looking at like combat knives and utility knives. Now, price on the Tops is going to be about $150. We're going to have links in the description below over to Blade HQ as well as Amazon. Blade HQ tends to have better prices on Tops knives than Amazon does. And we'll also have links to Blade HQ and Amazon on the other two blades that we're going to talk about, just to give you some perspective and options. We always like to give you guys competitive options so you can see what makes this Tops knife stand out in other compact utility knives. So when you guys use those hyperlinks, we really appreciate it. It helps us get out there, do videos just like this. And thanks for using those hyperlinks to Blade HQ and Amazon. So the other two knives I want to run in here, both made at 154 cm, both that compact, you know, utility knife is the Hogue. I believe this is the, I'll annotate it in, it's like the FX05, and then the Benchmade Protagonist that we reviewed a few years ago. Now, the Tops is kind of right in the middle. It's a really nice blend of the two, where the Hogue, it has this really full handle, but it is an enclosed tang, and it has a big broad blade. It's going to be the heaviest, and I don't really like its sheath. It's a little gimmicky and goofy to me. The sheath on the Tops is definitely better. Definitely for belt ride, it's like the best of all three. And it's going to be a little bit lighter and a little bit more compact than the Hogue would be. The Hogue would be a little bit better out in the woods than the Tops would be, and better than the Protagonist. The Protagonist and the Tops are really kind of that neck and neck knife, both again 154 cm, but you're going to get rubberized handles here, whereas you got that, you know, micarta. And the handle is just slightly larger and fuller on the Almar, and that was my major complaint with the Benchmade, is that the handle is just really, really thin. It's super compact, which is great, but you know, when you're using it for an extended period of time, there's not a lot to grab onto. There's not a lot of real estate. It's very much like a pocket knife. The Almar is just a little bit thicker, a little bit longer, a little bit fuller. It just fills out the blade or the hand a little bit better, and that's really where I see the major difference in these knives, and that's where I see that Tops kind of being that blend of giving you a little bit thinner, more compact, like the Protagonist, but giving you a little bit better handle ergonomics like the Hogue. And so that's kind of where this all fits into play when you are looking at these compact, you know, tactical utility blades.
Well, there you have it, folks. I hope this video has helped you out and shown you what this Tops knives in collaboration with Almar can do. I love it. It's really, really cool. I gravitate towards these type of knives. I'm more of this type of style than I am like a bushcrafter. Not that I don't like my Moras and, you know, my you know, Scandi grind, you know, bushcraft notching knives. They're absolutely awesome. But there's just something really cool and unique about these types of knives that are more in that combat utility. I think, you know, for the price point, you're going to be getting the design of an Almar, but you're going to actually save on some costs, and you're still getting US quality, which is really cool to see. So you're definitely going to be able to save a few pennies and be able to get still the awesome design and US quality. So I totally dig that. As a combat, you know, utility knife that's in a really compact setup, I think it gives the other knives that we've looked at here today a great run for its money. It's right there in the pack, and they are going to serve you well, this style of knife, and I believe that this one is definitely worth taking a look at. And if you like what Tops produces or what Almar produces, I think you're going to totally dig this knife, and you're going to get a lot of use and utility for those combat utility tasks out of this blade. So thank you so much for coming over today and checking out the channel. Please subscribe, comment, like, share this video. Love to hear you guys' thoughts. Any questions you have, I'll answer in the comments below. Check us out on all the relevant social media as well. It's a great way to see what's up and coming, projects that we're working on. And finally, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.